Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome to the show. So happy to be back with you guys yet again to explore some questions from listeners today, to ponder the greater mysteries and see if we can come to some conclusions or answers or perspectives or ideas, at least, that have us think a little bit more holistically, seeing things perhaps from a greater view, a grander view, an expanded perspective. I feel like that is the path to always being able to integrate whatever it is that we're dealing with and to, get the most from it, to find the gifts, to find the diamonds hiding under those lumps of coal. And before I do that, before I jump into a couple questions, I would like to take a moment and read some reviews on iTunes. You guys know I love my iTunes reviews. They help us to reach new people. They help to fuel my fire, to continue this labor of love. They just do lots of great things. So if you haven't reviewed on iTunes, please do so. And if you have, if you're not going to, that's okay too. There's some other places out there as well that you can review, but iTunes is pretty much the sort of the holy grail. Like Google Play, for example, doesn't have reviews. But you can always write in as well, including your questions to brandon@positivehead.com. You can also write in questions or connect with other listeners on the Positive Heads Facebook group. It's a lovely, lovely spot to connect, and it's also private so that people can feel comfortable opening up about things they may not want all of Facebook land to, see or read. And so those are some thoughts. Let's see here. Today's review came in by Elna11. And Elna11 said, "It's about time. It's about time I complete the circle of love and leave this podcast a well-deserved 5-star rating. About 2 years ago, when I started to really become awakened, and this podcast came into my life at the perfect time. Thank you, universe. I've been listening for over a year now, and making this a part of my daily routine has changed my life. I drive a lot for work, so when I stumbled upon it, I binged. The more I listened, the more I witnessed my victim mentality and negative self-talk slowly melt away. I became more understanding and patient with others and in stressful situations. For the first time in my life, I am experiencing peace. I am forever grateful for this podcast, as I owe much of my positive transformation to its content. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, interesting, relevant content, and of course, having the coolest guests. Thank you, Brandon, for this labor of love." Thank you, Elna, for taking the time to review and give me some, a glimpse into your world and how the show has helped to shape that world. And of course, you're doing the work. You're the one choosing to tune in. You're the one, really analyzing where you are at on the map of consciousness. Actually, that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's interesting that, of course, synchronistic, that this review is perfect for what I'm going to dive into today. Elna talked about, experiencing peace, and that is one of the highest levels on the map of consciousness that I'm going to talk about today. That is taken from David Hawkins' book, Power versus Force. And you've heard Christopher Jackson, who's been on regularly recently as a co-host, talking a lot about power versus force. And this book, by David Hawkins, I read many, many years ago, and I meant to mention it when we were talking, and I didn't. So it's a very, very fascinating book, and I'm going to touch a little bit on it today as I take these questions. And peace is definitely one of the things that, it's one of the stopping points, if you will, on your journey to expanded consciousness. So I applaud you, Elna, for doing the self work, for caring and loving yourself enough to work on it, work on yourself. And this podcast being a way that has helped you and worked for you. It's your brand of medicine, or one of the medicines that you've prescribed to yourself. It's lovely. It makes me feel lovely, of course, to have contributed and played a role. So, yeah. All right. So let's jump right in here to a couple questions, and then we'll talk a little bit about this map of consciousness I just touched on. This first one. Hi, Brandon. I'm writing to you with a fresh wound in my chest. Not physical, of course. I just found out that my fiance cheated on me. Apparently, it happened last week. It was a one-time thing, and it will never happen again. I feel like I've been destroyed. The wedding is in July. Please help me understand the reasoning behind this. I know it's not happening to me, it's happening through me, but it hurts. Do you think postponing the wedding is a good idea? Thank you so much, Brandon. This show has truly transformed my life, and I'd love to tell you all about how it has one day. Okay, well, this is quite the intense question and topic. And first off, let me say I don't have a magical cure-all answer. What I will have is some perspectives. Interestingly enough, the inbox today, I'm on the Elephant Journal newsletter, and today's that just came, the truth, why I had an affair. And I started looking at that, of course, when I pulled this question up and saw, both of them there. Or I saw the tie together between my inbox and this question, I went and started reading the article. And I won't read the whole article. You guys can read it yourself if you want. If you go to Elephant Journal, it's author Rachel Deller, Dehler. And it came out today, and it's called The Truth Behind Why I Had an Affair. But at the end, she tells her whole story, and her kind of summary at the end is, I can tell you my cheating had nothing to do with my ex-husband. It was my own fears, lack of self-love, and unhealed trauma. It was my fear of commitment to anything good, my limiting belief that I'm not deserving of real love, and my reckless shadow in perfect unison. It was a reflection of me, not my ex-husband. Next bullet. I can tell you I'm sorry. I regret very little in life, but I do regret this. I hate that more than one person was hurt by me. My hope is that someone reading this can see a piece of themselves in my story and release some of their own shame, guilt, or regret. Maybe someone reading this can internalize that they were not cheated on because they were a bad person or did anything wrong. And then third, once a cheater, always a cheater is not a true or fair statement. If we choose to do our work and understand the reasons behind why we cheated, we will not repeat these patterns. So that's a summary at the end. So I would recommend certainly anyone interested to go and read this. And by the way, this was written in by Rosie. I don't remember I said this. So Rosie, I would recommend going and checking it out on elephantjournal.com. and reading the whole thing. But so that's one big piece of it. Certainly, this woman in that article shares her whole story of, she had this really great husband, but yet she had all this pain in herself. And here's what ended up happening. And then she, cheated with someone who really reflected that pain. And that happens a lot, I think. And, of course, you guys have heard me talk before about monogamy and sort of my unconventional views on monogamy. And one of the episode 347, I would recommend going back and listening to, where I share a clip from Christopher Ryan, who wrote the book Sex at Dawn. And he basically, goes into, I won't go into all the details here, but he goes into sort of one of the issues with our society and the way it's structured, and how, this monogamous pair bonding is something that we've only done for 5% of humanity, at the most, of humanity's existence, modern human. And really, if you look at our closest relatives, it's not how we're wired, what's in our DNA. And yet there's a lot of shame and fear and, control and things that traditional relationships impose. And not to say monogamy is wrong. Certainly it's right for a lot of people, but there's a lot of pain and from it, because when you look at the science, we're wired one way, yet our society has taught us we've got to be a different way, or that means we don't love our spouse. And I don't believe the case at all. So, in my own life, I've explored unconventional approaches that also tie into my, spiritual beliefs and the oneness of all things, and, finding a confidence in myself where I don't feel as threatened by others, and I'm not saying this is the path for everyone or all you listeners out there. Some of you probably is. Most of you, it's probably not, right? It's definitely on the fringe of normalcy, which I tend to walk on a lot. But what's fascinating, like I said, if you go back and listen to that, talk, or if you don't listen to episode 347 of the podcast where I share it, go and search "Are We Sexual Omnivores" by Christopher Ryan. It's about a 13-minute TED Talk clip, or you can read his book Sex at Dawn, and it's very, very eye-opening. That helps to at least understand why some of these things happen. I'm not saying it's right at all, Rosie. If someone has made a commitment and a promise, of monogamy, and then is cheating, lying, deceiving, that's very, very painful. And, you said you feel like you've been destroyed. I get that. But if you can bring some light of understanding to it, really understanding who he is, his past, understanding some of these natural inclinations that are really suppressed and repressed by a culture that teaches us that we're very bad if we desire anyone other than the one we love, when, in my opinion, it's kind of like saying to a child or a parent, like, oh, you love your first child, so you certainly couldn't have feelings for your second, right? That diminishes. No, love is ever expansive, in my opinion. So, and connection is something that, our closest relatives in the animal kingdom, bonobos and chimps, they are not monogamous creatures. We're almost identical to them. We're more like them than they are than Eastern elephants are like Western elephants. We're more like them than they are like the other apes. So, if you start looking at some of this stuff, it helps to at least bring some awareness and perspective. We've been taught one thing, what's right and how it is. And as with everything we talk about on the show, a lot of times that's just not really in line with it's kind of feels like this life in general is like, how do we undo all the unnatural things have become considered natural, living in buildings 87% of our time in life. Meanwhile, all of our healing and so forth comes from being in nature. It's the most healing thing you can do for yourself, to go and, ground and walk barefoot and be in nature, and it resets your whole biological clock. And, everything about our society is like going from, it's like that show Stranger Things, the upside down. We're like in the upside down, if you're not monogamous, something's wrong with you. Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to share an exciting new development in my world that can benefit those of you who are ready to get out there and travel. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, at some point you have most likely heard me talk about my personal hero's journey tale regarding the Inc. fastest growing private travel company I co-founded that imploded back in 2015. Well, out of the ashes of that challenging lesson, my brother and I started a new travel company called Hello Vacay. And an exciting new chapter has just unfolded in my travel company saga, as Hello Vacay recently secured a huge partnership with the world's largest online travel agency, Priceline. Essentially, due to our past success working with them all those years ago, they have agreed to give us access to their deeply discounted private wholesale booking rates. Our new site, HelloVacay.com, is sort of like the Costco for hotel and alternate accommodations, because it allows anyone to get access to these wholesale rates, which are up to 50% off the normal booking rates you'll find on all the other major online travel sites. The only caveat is that Priceline won't let us display these rates publicly because they are so much lower than even what you would see at Priceline.com. So to offer them, they insisted that we have a paid membership for people to get access to these much lower rates. And since I appreciate
all of your ongoing support as I've continued to share the updates on my entrepreneurial journey over the years. I originally announced that we would give you all 50% off the normal membership fee of $79 a year. However, after talking to my brother more about it, I convinced him to give all of you 100% free access for the first year when you go to hellovacay.com and use the code PHFreeYear at checkout for the yearly plan. And be sure to choose the yearly plan, not monthly, when you're signing up to get the full free year access. Once you're a member, you'll see that the discounts vary from city to city and season to season. But if you're traveling with any regularity, your savings will easily add up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars a year. I personally saved over $200 in one weekend when I went to Seattle not too long ago. Also, I'm honestly not sure how long my brother will agree to allow me to run this free year offer. So if you plan to travel at all in the coming year, be sure to go to hellovacay.com, spelled HELLOVACAY.com, and use the code PHFreeYear to take advantage and get free access to wholesale travel booking rates. Journey well, everyone.
And once again, not saying that him breaking your agreement, I understand you feeling destroyed. And the wedding being in July, I can't speak to what you should or shouldn't do. I think most importantly is really make sure this, as you said, it's not happening to you, it's happening through you, and it's happening for you. So analyzing that in detail. Why is this happening for me? What is it that is being shown here? Is this my out? Is this saving me from something that I probably should sidestep? Or is this an opportunity for me to, really work through and explore some of these ideas about monogamy, or, explore his pain points, explore if, this is an opportunity for us to further our bond and grow through it. And like Rachel said in the article, I agree with her. I don't think once a cheater, always a cheater. If someone is committed to their growth, their personal growth, so that would be the first thing I would be looking at with this partner. What level of personal growth are they committed to? Are they sorry because they got caught? Or are they sorry because they made an agreement and, dishonored that agreement with you? So that's huge. How committed is this person to their own development? If they're not committed to their development, for me personally, if someone's not committed to development, it's a deal breaker. There's no chance of me working with them or growing with them in any sort of a arranged partnership, however unconventional it may be in my case. But I think all of us desire that perfect soulmate, twin flame partner that kind of checks all the boxes. I haven't found it yet in my life, and I believe it could exist. I don't know that means I would end up being fully monogamous or expect that from my partner. I have more of compersion, which is sort of the opposite of jealousy. I get excited, wanting for my partner what they want for themselves. And that's come from, my own journey, my own development. And so, yeah, I don't know in your case, if there's self-growth, if this person is committed, are they listening to things like this podcast or exploring how to improve themselves, getting in touch with their divine self? Or are they still, a lot of times there's relationships where one person is on this path and the other is sort of still sleepwalking. So that's okay. There's no judgment in that. But for me, we're growing so fast right now as a people, and especially those of us on this train, those of us who are waking up. We've had the aha moment, and we realize, oh my gosh, I'm a divine being in physical incarnation, and I'm going to work on myself and expedite my growth and so forth. So what happens a lot of times is if you've got a partner who isn't on that train, you may have a year ago or 2 years ago or whenever you were someone totally different when you got with that person. And then next thing you know, down the road, you're growing in totally different directions. And if that's happening, this may be your opportunity, your diamond, your lump of coal, turned into a diamond. It's showing you, hey, this isn't in alignment. I can't say for sure. I don't know anything about your partner. I'm just saying these are the things I would be looking at is, if someone, for me, if I'm committing to something as, till death do us part kind of statement, which is what, most traditional monogamous relationships and marriages are about, they darn well better be on a very, very similar path energetically. And if they're not, hey, if you still want to go forward with it, obviously that's your choice and there is no wrong answer here. That's the beautiful thing is you can understand there is no wrong answer. It's all going to lead to growth for you, Rosie. So, but you definitely want I would say there is an optimal or ideal scenario for you. And I think any optimal ideal scenario is going to come from the path of analyzing these things that I'm talking about here. And if you're not truly in alignment, you may really want to reconsider. And so yeah, that's sort of my take on this very, very tricky topic. And I really appreciate you writing in with something so powerful. Oh, and by the way, Rosie said, P.S. She said, I missed this here. She said, I love you so much. P.S. My 3-year-old nephew's favorite song. Oh, that's so cute. I love it. Someone shared, I forget the name, from Australia in the Facebook group, her son singing the song and saying the intro as well, like, hello, positive heads. And it was like the cutest thing ever. The kid was so cute. But anyway, side note there. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I want to add to this? Postponing, she said, do you think postponing the wedding is a good idea? I don't. That is totally on you. Once again, I would be analyzing, I hear a lot of times people talk about their partners. Yeah, we're in alignment on all these things, but our spiritual, perception and self-growth, to me, like that is 90% of what, where I would connect. So if that's missing, I would always be like very, very, it would just, but I've been down the road too. I've had relationships where we're not fully in alignment on that level. And so I went through that and had to learn that for myself firsthand. Each relationship, what's great about it, it shows you what you are willing to have and accept next. It's like Abraham talks about the contrast. And it's always telling you, I can think my most recent relationship, in a lot of ways, it was the clearest human I've ever been with, and like a Zen master in some ways, the energy of my partner. But the warmth that I really desire was missing. That really, this person is just you. They're around you and you just feel so warm because there's so much love emanating off of them to you or to others, and especially how they interact with others. I think of my own mother, and it's interesting because a lot of times I think we're attracted to people that are like our parents. Like, you hear it all the time. Women attracted to people like their father or boys like their mother. And, my mother is so warm to people that, if you guys were to ever meet her, you'd be like, oh, okay, I can see where, definitely some similarities between us. And she's just so loving and warm to people that she doesn't know. And to me, that's something, she always said, Brandon, I always saw you as someone like that. And now it's like, okay, I understand. I've had people that aren't really that way. And that's sort of a requirement now for any sort of relationship or agreement that I may enter into. So that's pretty much my 75 cents on that one, Rosie. I hope it helps you. I was going to get into talking about this map of consciousness and everything with another question today, but I kind of went on and on this one. So I'll basically put that aside for the next episode, and it's going to be a really good conversation. And I want to have plenty of time to talk about it. So with that being said, I hope this has helped any and all of you out there. Oh, one other thing that some of you may want to also look at is, in regards to this topic, one last thing, episode 347, I talked about it. And then also, if you go way back to episode 21, I talked with Dr. Kelly Neff, who's a psychologist and founder of, she does Lucid Planet Radio. And we talked about non-traditional relationships and challenges people might expect. So anyone who's kind of more interested in diving into that, understanding and world. And, certainly you might want to go way back to the beginning to episode 21 and check out my interview with Kelly Neff. But with that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with a song. We've been playing some Elephant Revival here over the last couple weeks. I'm going to play one more from Elephant Revival because I've been enjoying it so much in my own life and want to share it with you guys. This is a awesome remix of their song, Raven Song, and it's remixed by Ponder and Pathway. Hope you enjoy. Until next time, journey well. Love you all.
Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.